Ladies and gents, it is time to have a little chat about the new God of War that came out on Friday. Just a few moments ago, I have beaten the game, and you might think, wow, do you have nothing better to do in your life? Yeah, you would be correct, I don't. All joke aside though, one of the reasons that I did play it as much as I did during the weekend, it's because it is a very good game. Now obviously for those God of War fans out there who are wondering like what the hell is going on, this isn't God of War, this and that. I kind of want to go over that at first, of course, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are wondering. At its core, God of War 2018, as we're going to call it, I guess, is still a God of War game. However, there are some things that are fundamentally different than previous games. First of all, of course, being the gameplay. The most obvious thing being that it is now a completely different view as well. You're now looking over the shoulder of Kratos rather than a top-down view. Alongside of that is also the world is now open. It's no longer linear like it was for the previous God of War games, and you essentially made a gigantic circle around the map to eventually get to the big end boss battle, and that was the end of the game. God of War 2018 instead focuses more on a story, which by the way is a very good story. I think the closest you can compare this to is to The Last of Us, where it's more about the characters and what's going on with them, and especially the focus is heavily on Kratos and his son and the way that's kind of like develops and all that stuff. The pacing of the story isn't like from 0 to 100. It is definitely a very nice pacing to it. I did feel that it was something that definitely grabbed me by the throat, like, okay, I want to know what's going on. During streams, for example, I was like, hey, I kind of would like to go for a little something to drink, but instead I decided to stick around for another 2 hours because I wanted to know what is going to happen. The balancing gameplay as well is very nice too. There's a very nice balance between fighting, puzzles, and just regular walking about. And there's never a dead moment as well. If you're just doing nothing but simply walking about, additional storylines and additional story information and backgrounds about whatever it may be that you're currently doing on is being told to you. So there's never really a dead moment, and obviously the soundtrack of the game, as always, is just nothing short of fantastic as well. God of War 2018 at its core is still a God of War game. It might look slightly different, but the combat is still there, the brutal executions, the fantastic boss fights. The boss fights in this one, especially one in particular, it is rifling some of the better God of War boss fights, I have to say. And I've played all of them, so and especially recently last weekend, I went to refresh my memory for God of War 3. It is fantastic. Some of these boss fights and just some of the things that are not even meant to be boss fights, they are simply epic. Some of them are just like, whoa, that was intense. So that is definitely still there for those God of War fans out there. And the nice thing about God of War 2018 is that it also challenges you to set up a certain way for your gear. You can adjust your gear the way you want to do so, because this time around it's not about collecting red orbs and just making your Blades of Chaos more powerful, because obviously those are not there. You have an axe, which by the way is cool as hell. It's a fantastic axe. It's simply fantastic. You can throw it away and then you can catch it again. You can do so many cool stuff with it. And for those out there like, where are the Blades of Chaos and this and that, this isn't Kratos, what happened and this and that, I guess you kind of have to, have a look at the end of God of War 3 for that one. But I feel like that the axe is definitely a fantastic addition. It definitely spices up things. The brutal executions you can do with that as well is simply fantastic too. The way you can upgrade your gear and kind of like, mix it to the way you like to have your character. There's many possibilities of upgrading it and adjusting it to the way you wanted it to. Not gonna spoil it too much, but there's definitely a lot of variety going on, especially with the moves you can upgrade to. All that stuff that you, I guess, kind of are used to from a God of War is being heavily expanded upon. and definitely makes a lot of sense inside of the game as well. And the characters inside of the story are also very interesting as well. Normally what you have with, you know, a companion or whatever, they're either useless or annoying. Luckily in God of War 2018 that is not happening at all. Your son, you know, Atreus, or boy as he is constantly being called hilariously enough, is definitely a useful asset to your team. As the game progresses, obviously he gets better as well. He can also be upgraded with all kinds of things, which is definitely worth it. He becomes more and more useful the more you upgraded him too, of course, so it's definitely not someone that is going to be in your way. Instead, he's going to be useful. Do give this game a try. I have to highly advise you, do give this game a try. It is one of the best exclusives on PlayStation 4. And it's probably one of the best games that I've played in a very long time. This is on Horizon Zero Dawn and Last of Us kind of levels of epic. And I dare to say that because it is the truth. I'm only basing this review on the story, by the way. I've just beaten it. And there's a ton more stuff to do outside of that as well. But I feel like most people are just simply going to play the story and then move on to something else. So I guess it's the best thing to do about that is just kind of focus my review on that. Now, with all this positive stuff, there's also, of course, some stuff that I wasn't a fan of. The new way the combat works is obviously something you're going to have to get used to. Mainly because the camera can be a little bit awkward at times. It's not a major thing. Especially if you're someone that just plays on the default controls. If you're a God of War player, you're like, hey, why do I have to use this type of controls? Can I go back to classic? Unfortunately, the game is not designed about using classic controls, you know, square and triangle. So quickly you're going to have to learn to adjust to it. But the variety of the moves that you can do, and much more effective as well with those default controls, it kind of won me over to use the default controls and then go that route. If you want to share your opinions, leave them down in the comment section down below. No spoilers, please. I'm sure there's plenty of people that want to know more about the game and whether they should get it or not. And spoiling the game for them would be a huge shame as well. My personal take is that if you are a God of War fan and you look at this game and think, what the hell is this? This isn't a God of War. I can assure you, at its core, it's still a God of War game, and it's definitely worth giving a shot. Maybe not full price if you're not too sure about it, but if you're still a bit on the edge about the game, I would say give it a shot. It is an amazing game. The world is very rich. It looks very beautiful. The game itself is just simply beautiful. I mean, I'm playing this on the PS4, a standard one, and not even a Pro, so you can only imagine what it looks like on the PS4 Pro as well. The game itself, the gameplay is varied, is brutal. It is exactly what you expect from a God of War game, but just with a different point of view and also a slightly different tone as well. But it does make sense, to me at least, in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, that was it for my review. Thank you so very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later.